But tonight, fighting hard in the 26 car. Joining him on the front row on the outside, the man who ironically finished second with a dynamic placing in last week's main event, the Parramatta Sprint Car Nationals, is Sid Moore. Sid Moore in the 95 car now being forced to transfer through to the main event from the consolation race, the semi-main. Goodyear Sprint Car Grand Prix of Australia. Okay, green flag fires at Parramatta, onto the main straight away, and Sid Moore jumps out of the 95 car. Stephen Gall tucks in behind, but Sid Moore, making every post the winner, attempts to jump out in the 95 car, clear of by 4 or 5 laps over Stephen Gall. Glenn O'Loughlin with a big run on the outside now. In the 50 car, looks for the way around Kev Worthington, further back in the pack, John Beneath, still having troubles with the number 14 car, a new chassis fitted to that car, and having problems settling down. Meanwhile, Sid Moore leading tonight's sprint car consolation event, and Kev Worthington sitting on the bubble. Worthington needs to finish at least in third placing to qualify through from the main. Neville Carter with a big charge on turn 4. Glenn O'Loughlin goes out toward Duck Creek now, and further back to Ian Stewart. Less than 5 laps remaining. Sid Moore the leader. No change further back to Stephen Gall and Kev Worthington. A small amount of blue smoke being emitted from the Worthington Frontier air conditioning car. But Worthington still in third as Sid Moore goes through the tail enders, followed up now by former Mr. Motocross champion Stephen Gall. Gall now moves to the inside of John Beneath. Gall in second placing. Goes around the outside of Beneath, who tries to follow suit, but Beneath 1 lap down. Back then to Kev Worthington at the show of the white flag now for Sid Moore. On the high line and charging out of turn 2. That rains clay on the main straightaway. Sid Moore straightens up off turn 4, the black and white out, and Sid Moore qualifies. Sid Moore becomes the first qualifier. Stephen Gall also transfers through to the main event in the 26 car. And it looks like the 59 car of Neville Carter getting up at the wire to relegate Kev Worthington back into 4th placing, and it would seem out of tonight's Australian Sprint Car Grand Prix. So Sid Moore, top qualifier in the 95 car, transferring through to tonight's Goodyear Australian Sprint Car Grand Prix. Stephen Gall in the 26 car, running up in second, also a qualifier, and a blanket finish for the 3rd placing on the show of the black and white. And Neville Carter putting the 59 car across the wire, with Kev Worthington relegated to 4th, and it would seem out of tonight's Goodyear Sprint Car Grand Prix. With Jimmy Sills. Yes. There's the all clear as they run off turn 4. Green flag flies at PCR. Off the circuit is Steve Kinser rather in the number 1 car, and a wall of wings fight their way at the incredible PCR action track. This is the 1987 Goodyear Australian Sprint Car Grand Prix, as only PCR can bring it to you. They're high, they're low, they're centre circuit, all over, 4 wide now, out of turn 2. And the Americans fighting their way through from the back, but it's Gary Rush already through, up into 5th placing now, but the Kiwi Lyndon Kendall is the leader. Current New Zealand champion Lyndon Kendall is the leader, racing off turn 4. Steve Kinser, after bad starters, fighting his way through. Already a third of his way through from the back of the pack. Kendall the leader, back then to Bruce White. TJ Becker the next one through from John Kelly from Queensland. Oh, and Kelly has spun. Kelly has spun on the run to the main straightaway, and is collected by Gary Rush. But Rush races on. and Gary Rush up to 5th placing, but look at Max Dumsley on the outside. Max Dumsley, the current Victorian champion, has the Australian 77 car unwound as they head down the back section now, but the New Zealander out front and racing away. Lyndon Kendall racing away with the Grand Prix from Bruce White, Max Dumsley, Gary Rush, and Danny Smith. Danny Smith from the USA number 3 car. But meanwhile, the current New Zealand champion, Bob Blackwell, has blown a motor, it would seem. It looks like Bob Blackwell's blown a motor and is out of the race. Meanwhile, the Kiwi champion still unchallenged as Bruce White, Max Dumsley and Gary Rush. Followed by Danny Smith, attempt to close the gap here as they race hard into turn 3, but the Kiwi is still calling the shots. Gary Rush dies through on the inside now, and Danny Smith is there also. Danny Smith is still there. Onto the main straightaway, and the Kiwi is getting tired. Oh, it's obvious the Kiwi is getting tired in the 12 car as he goes to the outfield. Bruce White now under siege from Max Dumsley and Gary Rush being attacked on the inside as Rush hikes the wall. Danny Smith looks for the run through. Steve Kinser still midfield and fighting his way through as his brother Randy Kinser. As Max Dumsley now looks for the outside run as the field closes on the New Zealander. Kendall the leader, Max Dumsley in 2nd, Bruce White relegated to 3rd, and here comes Gary Rush and Danny Smith. Smith through on the inside of Rush, and Rush relegated back now to position 5. Danny Smith is 4th, Bruce White is 3rd, Max Dumsley is 2nd, and Lyndon Kendall's the leader as Dumsley looks for the run on the inside. Steve Kinser still back in the field now with a hard charge ahead. In the Grand Prix, 10 laps remaining in the Grand Prix, onto the main straightaway, with Max Dumsley the new race leader, Dumsley the leader from Lyndon Kendall, and the American Danny Smith in 2nd place now. Danny Smith takes over 2nd, so it's the young Sydney driver, Max Dumsley, ahead of the outlaw Danny Smith and Lyndon Kendall, driving an incredible race into 3rd. Back then to Gary Rush, Bruce White, and now Steve Kinser. Gary Rush is 4th, Steve Kinser is in position 5. 20 laps completed of the PCR action track and 5 remaining. Max Dumsley with 4 laps remaining in the championship for Max Dumsley. Danny Smith in 2nd, and look at the Kiwi in 3rd, and here comes Rush. Gary Rush on the outside. Rush on the outside, Kinser on the inside. This is PCR. This is the action track, and now Kinser through on the inside to take over 4th running, and the Kiwi fights back, and Rush on the inside. PCR. This is the real action track, and Gary Rush halfway around, and the Kiwi fights back again. Look at this guy in New Zealand now, but Kinser goes through, and now Danny Smith in 2nd place chasing Max Dumsley. Steve Kinser screams through in the 2nd place from Danny Lyndon and Dunsey in the 77 car. The young Australian will take the Australian Sprintcar Grand Prix. And a 25-lap race time, a 25-lap race time at PCR. 6 minutes, 19.33 seconds from right here in Sydney, the young Australian Max Dunsey. Fourth place in the 1987 Goodyear Australian Sprint Car Grand Prix. What a drive, his first season in Australia, only his second, third outing at the most here at the Parramatta City Raceway. The current New Zealand champion, what a drive from Auckland in New Zealand, Lyndon Kendall. Okay, Rebecca, how about a little kiss for Lyndon here? I'll take the hat off. Okay, good stuff. Lyndon, congratulations on behalf of all the Australians. There's a whole bunch of Kiwis out there, I know, tonight, and to be super pleased with your come in here and talk us, with your great drive tonight, kicking off from pole position. It was almost a case of put away the glasses, and you've proven to be one of the Kiwis that really can fly.
Yeah, well, we've taken a few meetings to come to grips with this track, which is just incredible. But even though it's the last night that we're going to run this season probably here, we're definitely coming back next season and hopefully beat the Aussies a little more often. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. He's a great try from Auckland, New Zealand, the New Zealand champion, Lyndon Kendall. Thank you, Rebecca. Would you like to just move in over there? Good girl. In third place, winner of last Monday night's Parramatta Sprint Car Nationals, third place in the Goodyear Australian Sprint Car Grand Prix. Votes making welcome Mr. Danny Smith. And Clint, we're going to ask you to offer your congratulations to Danny Smith. Silence is golden. How about a handshake for the American? Okay, good stuff. Thanks, Clint. Danny, welcome back to almost the winner's circle in a torrid 25-lap journey. One of the best at PCR, and let me tell you, it was a tough one.
Well, it was. We went from the back with no yellow flags, and it got kind of tough. I caught up to Max pretty good there, about 5 laps to go, and hit a lap car and flattened my right front tire. And I was just lucky to hang on and get third.
It's been a torrid season for you already in Australia with racing every second, third night.
Yeah, that's the way I like to race, you know. If you race for a living, you got to race every night.
And Danny, we're going to see you back here at the PCR as the remainder of the season unfolds?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we'll be back here in 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not sure yet.
Okay, Danny. Well, we certainly look forward to it. But in any case, it's always a great pleasure to have a champion of your calibre here at PCR. This is what, your 4th, 5th consecutive season here at PCR? 5th season here at the Parramatta City Raceway. And as always, you're always welcome.
All right, yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Danny Smith. This is our first chance to talk to this man on the microphone. He's 7 times World of Outlaws champion. This is his 3rd appearance in Australia. His 3rd season here at the Parramatta City Raceway, the last 2 seasons back-to-back. And now as a member of the Commodore United States Sprint Car team, running up with an incredible 2nd place from the back of the field tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, would you make welcome Mr. Steve Kinser. Steve, welcome back to the Parramatta City Raceway. Last time out you were a scintillating winner here on the Clayway, but with the 25-lap journey tonight it was a hard-fought battle through, and I think you'll be one of the first to agree that Australia's certainly picked up its game on the sprint car fields.
Well, they are got a lot of cars running a lot better. You know, it's pretty hard to start and to tell the field when you got a good field of cars like this and the track is in pretty good shape. Everybody runs a pretty good speed, but yeah, we did real well. We got from a tail up to 2nd, and you know, we was running really good there at the end. I got the car gear a little bit high to start with, and it wouldn't pull it, and then I got a little bit of trouble on the start there and bicycle and got a real bad start. But other than that, it was a real good race, and we just love racing and enjoy doing it all the time.
Steve, clay circuits such as Parramatta are not uncommon in the United States. How did you find the circuit tonight?
Well, you know, the clay here is pretty similar to some of the tracks at home, and I like running on the clay pretty well myself.
Okay, Steve, well, we don't know what your plans are for next season, and they probably haven't been concreted as yet. We're a little sad that we only seen you on one occasion here at the Parramatta City Raceway, but it certainly was a great one.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Steve Kinser. The winner of the 1987 Goodyear Australian Sprintcar Grand Prix 2 weeks back picked up the Victorian State Sprint Car Championship, formerly from Melbourne in Victoria, shouldn't say that, from Warrnambool in Victoria, now a Sydney-sider. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Grand Prix, let's hear it for Mr. Max Dumsney! I guess that's a case of Maxwell's silver hammer coming down on everyone's head on that occasion. Max, welcome back to the PCR Winners' Circle, and welcome back as the winner of the Goodyear Australian Sprint Car Grand Prix.
Thanks, Ollie. It's really good to have a win here. It's been a long time since I've won one here, and to win here with such good blokes in the field is really tops. I'd like to also thank all the guys this week that sort of put in, rebuilt my engine and sort of played around. So it's a little bit better since Monday night. We cooked it and we sort of just give her a bit of a rebuild, and it's going really nice.